All right, guys, so the fun is beginning. Parts are starting to trickle in that I've ordered for the four-door. I love getting parts in. It's like Christmas, man. I love it. But, I've talked about it in an earlier video. I've got a very, very low budget. So I'm trying to get as much as I can with the money I have. Stuff can always be changed later to, better quality or more expensive stuff. So for now, just to try to get it up and going and that type of stuff, I had to cheap out and buy some cheaper stuff. So anyway, what I've got in was a couple things of ARP bolts. Now I really didn't need ARP bolts for the engine, but I had this kit here I had bought for an older project that I never used, and I'd actually bought two kits to use throughout the car build. These are actually the hex head instead of the 12 points like I put all in my hardtop. Hardware is a detail item to me. That really kind of breaks stuff up. And the other thing about it is that when you paint something and you have to go in and wire wheel all the bolts and then you paint them, when you tighten them up, the paint chips off or flakes off and you have to go back in and touch it up with a brush or whatever. So for me, to save money, this is or save time, not necessarily money. This was the way to go. So I had went through several months ago and went through this whole box with all the extras and stuff that I had in the bottom here. And I tried to figure out what all I had just to do the engine. I don't care about putting ARPs and all the body stuff. That's just going to have stock hardware. But I wanted the engine and all the accessories on the engine to be ARP. Other than the head bolts, I'm not spending that kind of money. I have a brand new set of Pioneer replacement stock head bolts that I'm going to be using on it. But anyway, I was missing 3 or 4 bolts to have a whole set for the intake manifold. So I bought a 5-pack of those to finish that out. And then I didn't have any header bolts at all to bolt the headers to the heads. So I just went ahead and bought their header bolt set. So that was like 20 bucks, 19 bucks for that. And it was like $15, I think, for that, or 20 bucks, I don't remember. But anyway, now I have a full ARP engine hex head polished stainless steel bolt set. So I ended up buying 2 sets of the Billet Specialties brake line clamps. These are for 3/16 brake lines because I'll end up drilling and tapping the frame for my brake lines I'm putting on here. And I am building all my own brake line system on the car from straight sticks that you can get from the parts store. So, that might give some guys ideas that have never done it before, how easy it is to do at your home to replace and bend your own brake lines. But these are the brake line clamps I prefer. These are just really cool pieces. They are very expensive. They're 20 bucks a pack, and you only get 4 in a pack. So there's 40 bucks right there just in those. Now, if you're wanting those for your brake lines, that is the part number right there, 65110, and it's for a 3/16. Now, they have them in all other sizes, but anyway, so I went ahead and got those. So, everywhere up here where brake lines can go, they'll have those clamps on it. So when the hood's up, it'll look a little bit cleaner. So anyway, I got shocks. I got a matching set of shocks front and rear. I got KYBs. These KYB shocks, this is their baseline. They have the black colored ones that are cheaper than their silver ones. Their silver ones are the, obviously the better ones. But when I called O'Reilly's for just Monroe over-the-counter shocks, they were a little bit more expensive than their baseline KYBs. So I went ahead and bought the KYBs. These were like $25 each for the front ones and $27 for the rears, just as a stock replacement. So the other thing I bought was a timing chain for the 305. I definitely want to replace it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a nylon one in there. I actually thought I bought a double roller timing set, but I didn't. This is just a single, which it doesn't matter. I don't really care. It's all steel gear, so it's just as good. But anyway, I want to say that timing set was like $15, so that was very, very inexpensive. That's why I don't mind it being, not a double roller. It's no big deal to me. And then I bought a Felpro full engine gasket set for this 305. It kind of sucks that 305 gasket sets are always more expensive than the 350. But, I had to have them for the 305 head gaskets and stuff. So I have all kinds of extra gaskets over there in my slide drawer over there. I had just about everything to do a whole set except head gaskets and intake gaskets and a timing chain gasket, timing chain cover gasket. So anyway, so I just went ahead and bought a whole gasket set. I think it was like $55 or something like that, almost 60 bucks for that. But now I can redo the engine. But, you know, I needed the valve seals and all that stuff because I'm going to rebuild the heads and everything anyway myself. I'm going to lap the valves and then put all new valve seals on. But anyway, I'm excited, man. I got me some parts in. So I did place another order the other day, actually yesterday, I think. So I do have another box of stuff coming, but it's not a lot of stuff. I got a transmission pan. This transmission pan is actually crushed. It's smashed in. I think this transmission was unloaded off the back of a tailgate of a truck and just dropped straight down to the ground. Some of the stuff got bent and broke on it, but the transmission pan is all bent up. And I did take the pan off and tried to hammer it all out, but the flange is all tweaked out. So Summit had a transmission pan that actually says 350 turbo on it, but it's black powder coated, but it has a drain plug in it, and it was like 23 bucks or 24 bucks or something. So, you know, that was kind of a no-brainer just to replace the pan with brand new. That drain plug is definitely an asset to have on a turbo 350 transmission, because if you ever go to change the tranny fluid, you got to start taking all the bolts out of the tranny pan, and then it just makes a huge mess. A drain plug is very, very nice. Had my drain pan have not been smashed and beat all to hell, I probably would just put a drain plug kit in it. But I think that was a pretty good buy for that tranny pan. I bought 2 things of zinc. The ZDDP additive, I bought 2 of them because I need to change the oil in my truck again, and I definitely want it to put in the truck. And then I need one for this engine as well. I can't remember what else I got. I got 4 things on this last order, but I don't remember. I don't remember what the other stuff was. It's just little stuff, you know, that you end up needing. But there's still more stuff I have to buy. I just didn't have the money to spend right now. I mean, I probably could have went ahead and bought it, but I'm going in order of what I need, basically. So I'm trying to get my suspension, engine, transmission stuff done first. That way all the drivetrain stuff, the foundation of it is done. And then I'm going to jump on to the bodywork, metalwork, paintwork side of the car, which is where a lot of money's going to go. Luckily, I do have a lot of extra, you know, leftover paint supplies here. I have body filler and I have spot putty and that type of stuff. I think I even have some primer here. So it's going to, you know, not be as inexpensive as if I had to buy everything. But anyway, just wanted to show that. It's just fun. I really enjoy, you know, getting that type of stuff. But, so the engine should look pretty nice. I'm going to take it all apart and take everything completely apart and clean every individual component. I'm going to check all the bearings on the crank and the rods, you know, really look it over real nice. Clean up the pistons and all that stuff with the rings, make sure no rings are stuck, and then just put it all back together with all new, you know, rear main and, you know, all new seals everywhere. We're going to rebuild the heads and everything. This cam, a couple of the lifters out of this cam were pretty dished. Not really, really bad, but they did have a couple of them that were dished out. I even had one that had a rough edge on it. So I do not want to reuse the cam and lifters in this. This is a hydraulic cam and lifter that came in this, flat tappet. But this engine is set up for a roller. So I contacted a buddy of mine that has a lot of the later 350s with the roller cam stuff in them. And, you know, he has a bunch of junk vehicles out there at his place. And he told me that I could have the roller stuff out of one of the engines. So what I'm going to attempt to do is go get the roller cam lifters, the tray, all the stuff for the roller cam to make that a roller, just stock. Now, I wouldn't normally put a used cam and lifters in an engine. I've put brand new cam and lifters in used engines, but I've never put used cam and lifters in an engine. I would never do that with a hydraulic flat tappet or even a solid lift flat tappet, but I would do it with a roller just because the roller, you know, it's going to last a little longer. I feel more comfortable about it, basically. If I had the money, I would buy all new stuff. I don't have the money, man. Hydraulic flat tappet, cam and lifter, and with all the problems the cam manufacturers are having right now with soft metals and the cams going flat, I'm going to feel a little bit safer with the roller. I do have some questions about it because I'm not 100%. I've never done that. You know, I want to run the mechanical fuel pump on this engine, and I don't know if those roller engines have the lobe on the cam to run the push rod. And then I've read on a lot of forums, I did a lot of research for a couple of days, and really got nowhere with my research. It's like there's not a definitive answer. You know, usually when you do a roller cam, you have to change your distributor gear. And one guy had stated that the GM cams are just regular iron. You don't have to have, you know, the fancy gear. But anyway, another person said you needed the, I don't remember what it was called, but it was the fuel pump push rod that goes in the block. It had a bronze tip on it or something. So, you know, I don't know. So, just going to have to see how it goes. But it's going to be some trial and error probably. But anyway, I'm going to give it a go. But I plan on going, he's given me that cam and lifters and everything. I have to go take it all out myself. I will take a camera and do the video because I want to show his place. He builds a lot of old stuff at his shop. And he's actually one of my mentors from when I was really young. I learned quite a bit from this guy. But he has lots of stuff behind his house. He is always dragging stuff in. It is pretty cool to see. He's working on a, I'm not sure what year it is, late 40s, early 50s Chevrolet pickup. And he's actually taken, I think, 5 inches out of the whole center of the truck. Like he cut it in half, cut 5 inches out of it and put it back together. I think it's on an S10 chassis. He's putting a blown small block in it, blower, like a 2.4 big wide belt blower. And I don't know what all he's done to this truck, but anyway, it's going to be cool. I think he chopped the top as well, but it'll be kind of neat when he gets it done. But anyway, so I'm going to go over there and get that stuff, and I'll take the camera along with me when I do. But anyway, so the next thing in line for this car is the engine. I want to go ahead and get the engine stuff all done, and then I'm going to work on the transmission after the chassis stuff's finished and this thing's all back together. Transmission's a whole nother deal. I'm pretty pissed off about it. Well, I'm not really pissed. I'm just more bummed out about it, really. I had got this transmission, and it was a good used tranny. The fluid in it was beautiful red. Everything was on it. The car I took it out of, everything was with it. The torque converter, the dipstick, the kickdown cable, everything was nice. I ended up selling some of my vehicles as a group, and the transmission went in on the deal, and I ended up just a few weeks later dealing him back out of this tranny so I could use it, because this is a Unibel Turbo 350 short tail. This is the C model, electronic lockup, which you don't need to hook up, but I've run quite a few of these. But anyway, it took me a couple of years before I ever went over there to pick this transmission back up, and I didn't know it was left outside. I thought it was stored in his shop. So when I go to get it, it was outside, uncovered. So when I brought it home, I noticed a lot of the stuff was messed up on it. The dipstick tube was all bent and kinked over. The speedometer housing had a big crack in it, and when I started to try to take it loose, it just broke off. The shaft for the gear shift selector does not shift anymore. It's like stuck right there, and if you look at it, it's smashed into the case right there, like it's touching it. So the bottom of the transpan was smashed, and also the kickdown cable was broken off down there by the case where it bolts on. So now I have to replace like $100 worth of parts on this just to get it back to where it was when I got it back. So that was a loss there, but what do? You know what I mean? I'm worried about this. I think what he did was he dropped the tailgate on his truck when he got home with it, and he just grabbed it and just yanked it out and let it fall. And I think it probably partially landed on that and done something to that. So I'm going to have to take the pan off, which I've already done once to check, make sure there was no water in it, which there wasn't. But I'm going to have to take the valve body out and check over the stuff, because it seems to me something is broken, or, you know, something happened here. So I'm going to take all the valves out of the valve body, clean everything with solvent, and see if anything's messed up. But anyway, you know, it sucks. I'm going to have to spend about $100 in parts just to get it back to where it's usable. Before, I would have just had to degrease it, clean it up, put a new filter kit in it and a new pan gasket on it, and been good to go. New seals, you know, front pump seal and a tail shaft seal, and I always replace the shift shaft seal and the O-rings and stuff on the speedometer gear. But anyway, so there'll be a video on that as well. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off here, and I'll find something to do. Thanks for watching.